Here's the deck I was playing, Mono Lightning. We're looking to get to 8 characters so that Zande will be able to resurrect any forward from the break zone. Usually we'll want 8 on the field before we play the Zande and he can be the knight. That way if our opponent responds by killing one of the other things, then we'll still get the trigger from 8 characters. Obviously 5 of those can be our backups, but then we'll need 3 others, and that's why there's a decent amount of monsters. Arden will usually be the resurrection target, and we can stack Zande's 2 abilities to get a double draw. So if Arden enters first, he'll break something, and then he can reveal and draw the top card of the deck. And then Zande's first ability will trigger to break something else, but Arden will already be on the field at that point, so he'll see that to then reveal and draw again. Most of the backups are category 14 to make sure we'll be able to get Zoral online. In case you went away, he's awesome. And then for the rest of the forwards, rather than going down the Scions route, I was looking for other options that might work, and Sifa seemed like the next best choice. He's a bit like Zoral in that he'll break something each time he can attack, but he doesn't have the inherent haste like Zoral does, so that's why there's 3 Raijin and 2 Adea to search Raijin. Zoral needs at least 3 of our backups to be category 14, and we'll always want Raijin on the field, so that only leaves us one other slot for something that isn't category 14 if we wanted it, and that's why I've gone with 3 Rickard rather than something like, say, a mixture of Rickard and Reeve. I've played around with different ratios of other category 8 forwards to go with Cypher to try to make sure he'll have a target in the break zone to add back to hand, but I'm not really a fan of any of the others. The old Adea that searches and can reduce power is okay, but she's quite expensive in the early game, and it's really annoying when you mill something to the break zone that you really want in your hand, like a Zoral. I tried the new Adele as well, but her protection was a bit too easy to get around, it seemed, and she also requires you to run more copies of Adea to make sure you can remove a witch. Irvine is okay against certain decks, but nothing more than that. And I've found that the LB Gilgamesh actually does a similar job to him, and that's why there's 3 of Gilgamesh in the LB, because apart from Cloud, the other LBs are quite lame, so it's not like he's taking up slot space. Moving on to the game, I'm against Mono Fire, and I'm going first. This was my starting hand. I've got a backup but no follow-up play, so I'm mulligan hoping to do better, and I've got a Raijin, and then my draw is a 1 CP, so that's great for my turn 2. So play the Raijin and pass. They play a Vivi, pass back to me. Drawn a Louis Soir as well, so I can go search for the Alphinaud backup with that. I decide not to play the Alphinaud because I don't want to discard any of the other cards. Potentially, the Black Knight could kill a small forward that they play. The Odin will be good in a very short while, and similarly, the Araneo is going to draw me a card, so I'd rather just hang back and see what happens. On their turn, they played a security officer, and then they ramped to 4 backups, which is pretty scary. I want to play the Alphinaud, but then I'll be left with 6 cards in hand. So I'm trying to think of a way to be more efficient with my CP. So I play the Machinist for 1, Warp Estinian, and then discard to play the Alphinaud. I discarded an Aranea because I've still got another one in my hand. They play their 5th backup Saz to go search for a summon, which will be Amaterasu. So I know that that can prevent Estinian from entering if they want to cancel that. So that's why I'm moving him towards the break zone in anticipation. But they say, actually, no, it's fine. He can enter. I should have known that then they've got something else that they're going to do to him. So I go to try and attack, and sure enough, they use that summon to kill him. So that's keeping a card in their hand, and it's Ami, so that can stop a different trigger that they might be scared of. So I'll play my skeleton just as another character, and then play the Aranea to draw a card, and then I'm going to use my last CP to get to 5 backups and pass. They're on their 5 backups, so they could do a Montleonis, but they don't yet have any 5 cost forwards in their break zone. So they've only got the ward, you can see there, and no other target. So they play this Kadaj, which is very annoying because they're going to swipe my best resurrection target for Zande when I get to him. So I'm thinking now my only way to kill this Kadaj is with the Odin summon, so I want to prioritize keeping hold of that. But I don't want to discard 2 cards to do it, so I want to leave open some CP to kill him on the next turn. So I've drawn into another skeleton. I can attack with Aranea. Annoyingly, they hit a ward, of course, and then I can just warp this Estinian again, and I've left open the 3 CP, which is going to be used to use Odin on Kadaj. I can't respond because Kadaj enters at the end of my turn, but on their turn, when they go to attack, I can use Odin to kill this Kadaj. And that's what happens now. So they've told me they've gone to combat, and then in response, I cast the Odin to kill him and draw a card. And I've drawn another Odin, which will be helpful for if they do a Montleonis and I want to kill the 3 CP target that they resurrect. That's an option. Back to my turn, and I've drawn dead really because I've got an Adea but no target because Raijin is the only one. I've got 2 Black Knights, but they can't kill anything because they haven't played any goblins or small forwards. So I move to combat, but then they cast this Bahamut on the Estinian before I can attack. So I contemplated for a moment, do I Odin my own Estinian? But no, that would be stupid. So I just have to accept it, and then I'm going to play the LB Gilgamesh, remove the ward. I'm trying to keep their Montleonis targets to a minimum, and then their best summon, which I think would be the 1 CP Ifrit because it's so cheap. And then at first I tried to play LB Nick, thinking that my Estinian has been killed, so he only costs 1, but forgetting that the Bahamut removes Estinian from game rather than puts him to break zone. So actually we can't do that, so we're just working out how to unwind it, which I eventually figure out how to do. And then I pass back to them. And on their turn, they pay 3 to play a ward and kill my Gilgamesh. I'm fine with that because I can then play another one. I could use Skeleton, but there's better things to use it for, and there's no rush. Next turn, so I've drawn a Behemoth, which will do 7k, which is not enough to kill him. So I tap 2 thinking about doing the Behemoth just for an extra character on field, but then decide against it. And instead I think I'll cast this Odin and hopefully draw something I can actually do. And if not, I've always got the LB Gilgamesh that I can do. So I drew another Ricard, which isn't helpful. So I've got 4 open CP and nothing I really want to play. So I just play this Dark Knight just as another character. And then I'm going to play another LB Gilgamesh. So I can remove that ward that we just killed and another summon. Then pass back to my opponent. They start their turn and then decide to use the goblin searchers. So now I'm thinking, good, I can actually use this Black Knight to kill a goblin if nothing else. So they're just going to follow through the goblin chain, 1, 2. But they must have drawn the other one because they don't go for the third one. So I've drawn 2 more behemoths, but there's no forwards to deal 7k to. So I'm getting a bit frustrated at this point because I've hardly seen any of my forwards. It's all backups and monsters. I'll attack with Gilgamesh, and then sure enough, they hit an EX burst, 2 EX bursts from the first 2 damage. So they're going to get back a summon, which costs 2 less on their turn. And then I pay 2 to play this Black Knight to kill one of the goblins. And then I move to the end phase and pause just in case they want to use that summon to kill my Gilgamesh. And then if they did, I'll play another one while it's still my turn. But they say, no, it's fine. We can just pass and then it'll go back to their turn. So they start their turn. And then they pay a whopping 7 to play Ifrit and smash my Gilgamesh for 7k. And he's got haste as well. There isn't any other forward that'll take 10k when I take a point of damage. But I decide to use the Black Knight's ability to just break a forward, save myself a point of damage. So then they pass back to me. I've finally drawn a Zande and a Sifa, but Zande doesn't actually have, well, he has a Aranea and potentially the Sifa if I discarded it. So I play the Sifa who's got haste from Raijin. Mill 2. And then the Amaterasu that affects, so I'm not going to get back the Adea from my break zone, and the Sifa is dead. And now I'm thinking, do I play this Sunday? It won't break anything because there's no forwards on field, but at least I'll get 2 bodies. And one of them could be the Sifa who would have haste. So that's what I'm considering doing at the minute. But in the end, I decide against it because I'd rather use the Zande to actually kill something. So I go for yet another LB Gilgamesh. And then there still aren't any Montleonis targets, so I just remove the Amaterasu, and it's a toss up between the other summons. So I go for the big Bahamut and then pass. At this point, I'm saying I haven't seen a Zoral yet, so I'm down to only 22 cards in deck, so 3 of them are Zoral. So any minute now, I should be drawing the good things from my top decks. They play a Cloud and kill one of my monsters, and then they're just deciding whether to do the 7k to my forward as well. But they're looking at my break zone and saying, well, actually, I'd rather remove 2 things and draw a card. So they remove my precious forwards that I've just not been seeing so far, and then pass back to me. Still haven't drawn as a round, so I've drawn an Aranea. So I could play Zande, but there's only Aranea as a target. Well, a feasible one. There's the Adea, but there's no target for her, so there'd be a bit pointless playing resurrecting the Adea. So I could do 2 behemoths to kill the cloud, 2 lots of 7k, or I could do an Aranea, see what I get, and hope that it's a Zaral. But I actually go for playing just the 1 behemoth and then use the action ability to break a damage forward, and then I can attack again with the Gilgamesh because there's no blockers. And then I decide to pass again. I could have played Aranea and flipped the top card to draw, but I want to kind of pretend that I've got some decent summons that might make them think twice about doing a Montleonis. It doesn't really deter them because they just go for it anyway. So they've got the cloud in the break zone because I killed him, and they've also got the Wuklumat, and they've just discarded a Terror, so they could resurrect either cloud or Terror, plus Wuklumat, or another thing if they were to discard it. They think for a minute and then decide they're going to go with the Montleonis, and they resurrect Terra and Wuklumat. And Terra's target when she enters the field is the Brynhilda, and it'll cost 2 less, and they can cast it for 1, but there isn't anything on the field to kill. They've both got haste as part of Mont's ability, so they can attack. But I decide to sack a skeleton to kill the Wuklumat because at this point I'm thinking deck out is a strong possibility. So still not seen as Zaral. I have drawn an Ardin. So I've got Ardin, an Aranea, and Zande. So I could pay 5 for Zande, but tap 3 and discard Ardin to try and resurrect um, the Ardin. But I only have 6 characters on field, so I need to get another character first, and really another 2 because they likely got, well, I know they got the Brynhilda, for example, that would kill the Aranea. So I need to get 8 characters on field and then Zande be the knight. So I play Aranea first, hoping to hit a Zaral, but I hit this Odin. He can't, he can only kill things that cost 4 or less, so, which is nothing at the minute. And now I've got 7 characters, but that Aranea can die to a Brynhilda, so really it's only 6. Play another Behemoth. I don't want to kill the Terror because they'll get back another summon and it'll cost 2 less, so I do the 7k to Montleonis. And now Zande enters as the knight character, and I messed up paying for it, so I just said, do you mind if I just switch and put the Arden into the break zone so he can be the target from the Zande? So that's the stack at the minute. Zande entering, he'll break something and try to resurrect this Arden. So the Zande will break the Montleonis and he's trying to resurrect the Zande. In response, they cast firstly the Ifrit and do 5k to Aranea and 5 to Zande, and then on the stack of that, cast a Brynhilda to finish off the Zande. And that means I've only got 7 characters on the field when Zande attempts to resolve, so I don't get to play the Ardin after all. And then Terra dies and gets back that 1 CP Ifrit. So at this point, I'm thinking the writing's on the wall because I'm never going to be able to play a forward that can attack because they're just going to use these cheap removal options. So deck out seems like the best or only realistic win con for me. While I've been talking, they attacked and hit an Odin EX, so that killed the Montleonis. And then they cast another Terror, who's going to get back another summon. So they've already got that 1 CP Ifrit from the previous Terror, and now this one is going to choose a Brynhilda. So as I said, it's unlikely I'm going to be able to get any attacks through. So I'm thinking that deck out is the only option. I finally draw a Zaral, but I know that he's just going to die instantly to the summons that they picked up. So go to combat and then, yeah, boom, 2 lots of 5k to kill him. And then I don't really have a decent play, so the best I can do is use the action ability of Alpha Null to deal a K to an active forward, and then once Terra's taken damage, use the Behemoth to finish her off. All of this is just so that I won't take a point of damage from Terra. So Terra dies, and they would get back another summon. The problem is they've now got a hand of 7 cards, so it's likely they're going to be able to play a backup and then also do a Montleonis. But first they do a Cloud to kill this skeleton and remove any targets they like from my break zone to draw a card. I moved the skeleton to the side rather than the break zone just to see how many counters it would eventually finish up with. It's on 14. And then they play this jet just for free because they can. It's a body that can attack. Back to me, and I've got a Zaral, but we know what's going to happen when I try and play him. So I have to at least try. Play a skeleton first, then tap 3 to play the Zaral, then try to move to combat, and then wait for the inevitable summon that will kill him. There we go. And then I'm doomed here. But because Mazaral actually died to the break zone, now I can play this Nyx for 1, and that's the last of my LB. They play a Culinarian for free. They've now got their 5 backups, so they can tap 4, discard 2 to play Mont, Resurrect, Terra, and Wooplamat. And they've already got 2 attackers plus 2 hasters, so that's 6 damage. So here comes the Montleonis, Resurrect, Terra, and Whoop. Wook's going to deal 7k boosted to the Nyx to kill him. Terry retrieve that summon just in case. They can go to attack with those two things. I hit an Odin, so at least I can stop one of these attacks, but I think it's too little too late. They kill the cloud. They swing with eject. I'm on 5 damage. We've drawn a Zande, but he only has 6 characters on field, so all he can do is kill one thing. My Odin could kill the Wukla. It will draw me a card, so that's not really working with the deck out strategy. So just play this simply to break something and just see if we can stall, but we know it's not going to happen because they've got the summons from Terra. So killed the the Mob Leonis because the Odin can actually kill Wukwamat when it tries to attack. But then it's just hard cast an Ifrit to smash Mazande out the way. So Skeleton kill Wukwamat, but they've still got 3 attackers, and that's game. Here's the deck list one more time. Thanks for watching. See you next time.